Good evening. As you may have just seen on the national news, last night the Channel Islands lost one of its most cherished people, Gary Burgess, who died after a long illness with cancer. He was 46. There has already been a huge outpouring both in the islands and beyond, and over the coming days more tributes will be paid from all of the media who were lucky enough to benefit from his words, humour and brilliant journalism, and of course from you, his audience and his friends. Well, here at ITV Channel, where again, we were lucky enough to experience his unique talent and love of the life right to the end, we will dedicate Tuesday evening's programme to our wonderful friend and colleague. But for now, Claire Burton has been looking back at his remarkable career.
24 minutes past 8, this is the Wave Breakfast Show, Blackpool's biggest breakfast show.
A young Gary Burgess in his first job at Radio Wave in Blackpool. After honing his skills on the mainland, Island Life came calling in 2003 with a job at Island FM in Guernsey, and later the breakfast show at BBC Guernsey, where his passion for politics took hold.
Gary loves politics, so he just has a knack for getting to the point, to the heart of the matter. So what, you and I would like to know about, but maybe don't have the opportunity to ask the questions of the people in power. And, he was just really interested in people, in island life, and really passionate about Guernsey at the time as well.
Gary moved into TV in 2011 with a reporting job at Channel Television. The next decade would see him covering the biggest of stories, including Jersey's care inquiry.
He had that professional skill in getting the story over without detracting from it, and very importantly, getting the interviewees, for example the survivors, to tell their stories. His work was invaluable because it educated us. He was the ultimate professional storyteller.
That direct style gave politicians nowhere to hide. Many of them welcomed the challenge of a Burgess grilling.
But Gary has always been across the news in a really deep and meaningful way. His contacts are second to none, and it was just amazing to see how he would have been contacted by so many people and have the inside track. But it's a good thing that somebody has that ability to really have done their research, to ask the challenging questions. That's the whole point.
Gary only left ITV in August 2021 and continued his columns in the Jersey Evening Post until very recently. Such was his commitment to his career. Gone too soon, but he leaves an indelible mark on island life.
He certainly did. Well, you can see the whole of the statement from Gary's husband Alan on our website, but in it he says, in an attempt to avoid cliché, I'm just going to misquote a line of dialogue from the final episode of The West Wing, with being one of Gary's favourite programmes, and something said with love and pride by one spouse to the other. You did a lot of good, Gary, a lot of good. A sentiment echoed by the island's leading politicians.
I had a number of very frank discussions with him off-screen around how he was approaching his terminal condition, and I know his exchanges with other islanders and his whole public approach to it has been truly inspiring in terms of his frankness and his bravery.
I think we'll look back, those of us who know him and those of us who've worked with him or experienced the quality of his work, in 10, 15 years' time I think, goodness me, this man's still, his memories are still around, his work's still around, the quality of the things that he did is so good that it will just carry on forever.
And so say all of us. Well, look, we know how much Gary loved and used social media, and that's where people turn to today to share their condolences, tributes and kind words for our wonderful colleague. Here's just a tiny part of what's been said so far. Oliver Wilderspin wrote, Gary was a true legend here in the Channel Islands. Everyone loved him. And without his work over the years, our politics would have been very different. We've lost one of the greatest Channel Islanders. G. Moran said, so incredibly sad, we'll miss your smiling face, wild shirts and wonderful journalism. Rest now, Gary. Meanwhile, Sadie Harris wrote on Facebook, this is heartbreaking. I didn't know Gary personally, but you always felt like you did, watching and listening to him over the years. That was the charm of the man. He brought everyone in. He will be much missed. Well, as I say, we will dedicate all of Tuesday evening's programme at 6 o'clock to Gary. I'll be back tomorrow with your lunchtime and evening bulletins. But from now, from the whole team here, we'll say goodbye and thank you very much indeed for watching.
Hello again, good evening. Things looking pretty unsettled over the next few days, certainly pretty wet tomorrow, blustery as well. You can see on the pressure chart today's occlusion is out of the way. That's brought some rather squally, blustery showers for us. And then we've got this little feature pushing up for tomorrow. That's going to bring outbreaks of rain. Quite a miserable old day, I'm afraid. But for this evening and overnight, there still could be some blustery showers around, but they'll tend to ease away later on. Things becoming drier, some clear skies around, and temperatures not falling too far, just down to around 9 degrees. Now, tomorrow there is a tide alert for Guernsey at around 6:40 in the morning. We've got this band of rain pushing in. It really could be quite heavy, generally quite a miserable old day. The wind's moderate, occasionally strong, so still quite blustery. I think there could be a bit of mistiness around as well, but temperatures holding up pretty well under all this. Bit academic perhaps, but around 12 degrees. And then looking further ahead, unsettled as I mentioned earlier. Wednesday probably looking like the best day at the moment, driest, brightest, but also quite chilly at around 9 degrees. Those temperatures a little bit up and down, but certainly feeling colder than it has done.